order for August 28th, 2023. We hope all staff and students have had a wonderful first day of school. Saw lots of excitement and energy in various social media platforms all throughout the day today. And so we are really excited and hope everyone got off to a fantastic start. At this time, would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. You may be seated. Good evening, Miss Parker. Can I get a roll call, please?
Angela Cobb,
Here.
Pam Pereza,
Here.
Tommy Old,
Here.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Present.
Rodney Walton,
Here.
and Sharon Warden,
Present.
Haley Mayhew, Mitchell Manuel, and Gabby Johnson. And I'm sorry, Miss Bogues, Valerie Bogues.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Everybody is present and accounted for. At this time, we'd like to ask Ms. Bogues if she would read our ethics awareness and identification of conflict statement.
Welcome to the August 28th, 2023 meeting of the Elizabeth City Pasadena Board of Education. It is my duty to remind members of the board that it is your responsibility to avoid all conflicts of interest and potential conflicts of interest in accordance with Chapter 138A of North Carolina General Statutes. As public servants, it is your duty to continually monitor, evaluate, and manage your personal, financial, and professional affairs in such a way as to ensure the absence of conflicts or potential conflicts. Does any member know of any conflict of interest or potential conflict of interest with respect to any matter coming before the board today? Let the record reflect that no conflicts exist.
Thank you, Ms. Bogues, and welcome to your first regular board meeting. Okay, at this time, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
So we have a motion from Dr. Williams and a second from Mr. Walton. Ms. Parker, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Pam Pereza, yes. Tommy Old,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Sharon Warden,
Yes.
and Miss Valerie Bogues.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'd like to turn the meeting over to Dr. Parker for some recognitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're very excited to have some of our wonderful central office staff here tonight that we want to recognize for their hard work in preparing for what has been an incredible first day of school. And we're really excited that we're going to be able to share some updates and highlights with the board after the recognitions to give you an idea of how well the day went today. And I believe we have some photographs that we're going to be able to share as well. So looking forward to that, but we want to kick it off with some recognitions, and we're going to let Miss Tammy Reinhardt start us off and recognize our fantastic child nutrition program. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you so much. I get so nervous every time I can come up here. Chair Cobb, board members, Dr. Parker, friends and guests, thank you so much for the opportunity to recognize my ladies and my team. This summer, I wanted to recognize our summer employees, our summer food service program. We only had, I think, 16 members that worked this summer. But with those 16 members, we served 21,703 breakfasts, 24,285 lunches. In addition to the school sites, we serve the Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, Parks and Rec, NEAT, Rehoboth, Little Angels, Just Girls, United Methodist, and on and on and on. And these ladies are just fantastic. I'm going to just read their names off. Not all of them were able to come, but Stephanie Johnson, I'm going to ask them to come up. Dolores Brumsey, Shirley Williams, Yolanda Banks, Linda Dance, Lynette Bowe, Jane Chappell, Bethany Robinson, Sherry Chapman, Amber White, Joyce Hooks, Mary Brooks, Ebony Graham, Nicole Mallory, Shanita Cole, and Crystal Turner. Again, quite a feat for 16 ladies. Appreciate them. Ms. Dolores Ramsey, our manager at River Road. Shirley Williams, manager at P.W. Moore. Ms. Lynette Bowe at Pasco County High. Ms. Bethany Robinson, our assistant manager at Pasco Elementary. Ms. Amber White at Pasco County High. Ms. Mary Brooks, P.W. Moore Elementary. And Ms. Crystal Turner, our compliance coordinator. Ladies, thank you so much. I'm so proud of y'all. Love ya.
Can you hear me? Good evening, Chair Cobb, board members, Dr. Parker, colleagues, and guests. Summer is the time that most school employees and students look forward to being off. No school. Since 2020, we have encountered a shortage of staff. So last summer, I reached out to 10-month employees, part-time employees, and asked for some assistance. Last summer, we had about 6 teachers and part-time custodians and bus drivers. This year, we had about 5 times that. So I could not go without recognizing these part-time employees for helping the maintenance department this summer. They assisted in the capacity of cleaning and moving furniture, as well as painting with the maintenance department. I don't see them all here, so I'm just going to read the list. And if you're here, if you don't mind coming forward, please. Xavion Anderson, a teacher at J.C. Sawyer. Sylvia Badilla, teacher at Northeastern. Kamisha Gay Bent, a teacher at P.W. Moore. Rakia Brickhouse, part-time custodian at Pastank Elementary. Pauline Brothers, part-time custodian at Central. Shantae Brown, receptionist, River Road Middle School. Kimberly Bryant, a TA at Central Elementary. Martin Eskin, teacher, River Road. Deidre Cherry, TA at Northeastern. Paula Creasy, food nutrition, J.C. Sawyer. Sharon Fagans, part-time custodian, Northeastern High School. Paul Foreman, a teacher at J.C. Sawyer. Ramona Green, teacher, Northeastern High School. Vanessa Green, bus driver. Patricia Hill, part-time custodian, Pastank Elementary. Herman Johnson, bus driver. Chandra Lee, part-time custodian, Weeksville. Victoria Lewis, part-time custodian, Pastank Elementary. Vivian McDaniels, teacher at Pastank High. Chennis McNeil, a teacher at P.W. Moore. Jennifer Mitchell, teacher, Northeastern High. To Musette, I always mess his first name up, teacher, EC Middle. Chris Reachley, teacher, Pastank High. Danielle Story, guidance, Pastank County High School. Joyce Turner, after school, Sheep Harney. And Gail Whitehurst, a TA at Northeastern. If y'all would give them a round of applause, please. They were great this summer. It's in here somewhere. It was in alphabetical order. I'll find it, Miss Fagans, and get it to you. You go get your picture. I know it's in here. Pauline. Chandra. I don't see it, Miss Fagans. Oh, there it is. When you look up the word maintenance in the dictionary, you get several versions of what the definition is actually. It's just the process of maintaining something on the state or being maintained. The technical meaning involves functional checks, services, repairing or replacing necessary devices and equipment, the routine, recurring work required to keep facilities in such a condition that it may be continuously used. Of course, none of those definitions apply to the maintenance department. We got a lot more that goes on besides that. We are a department of 14. We maintain 1,072,492 square feet of HVAC, electrical, plumbing, carpentry, locks, pest management, and we maintain 299 acres of mowing. Let that soak in. We're 14. But that's not all we do. We pick up trash, move furniture, deliver custodial supplies, troubleshoot and repair custodial equipment, deliver and move food as well as sound equipment, to name a few. We wear many hats. Currently, we have 6 vacancies, yet we've adapted and overcome. Last year, I asked them to come up with one word that would describe our department. They described us as dedicated, motivated, multitaskers, helpful, movers, reliable, responsive production. I'd like for you to meet our team, which of course my team consists of only one that has shown up. Steve, they don't like to be in the spotlight, as Dexter could tell when he was chasing them around looking for a video. Stephen Banks, grounds, 22 months of service. Matthew Blatt, carpenter, 8.5 months of service. TJ Blunt, he's HVAC tech, kitchen equipment, multi-hat wearer, 9 years of service. Eric Downing, grounds, 2 years, 7 months of service. Tommy Finley, maintenance supervisor, electrician, multi-hat wearer, 13 years of service. Eric Green, warehouse, this is his new role. He was previously a plumber, 18 years of service. Daryl Howard, electrical apprentice, 2 years of service. John Lang, grounds, 1.5 years of service. Emmanuel Moss, locksmith, pesticide technician, 4 years of service. Jim Pembroke, grounds, 4 years of service. Michael Staples, ground supervisor, 5 years of service. Vanessa Whidbey, warehouse, 20 years of service, which Vanessa is still out from her bus accident. Barry Williams, HVAC, equipment, 7 years of service. Mr. Finley, will you please represent our department? You're welcome. You may go get your picture. Yes.
You know where your certificates are. And
Holy smokes. Good evening, Chair Cobb, board members, Dr. Parker, and community members. My name is Heather Edmiston, and I am currently serving as the Interim Director of Technology for ECPPS. Tonight, I would like to take just a moment to recognize the members of the ECPPS Technology Department for their ongoing support and hard work, working nonstop throughout the summer and now with the start of school and also throughout the coming school year. Technology is one component in education and in business that is often only considered when it isn't working. The technology staff work nonstop to make sure that students, teachers, and staff have devices that work for classroom instruction, collaboration, as well as daily business operations. From Chromebooks and iPads to security and access systems, and even to printers and telephones, these people keep ECPPS connected and operating every single day. Please join me in thanking the following technology staff for their hard work and dedication to ECPPS. Wendy Lawson, Technology Specialist. Eric Nixon, Technician. April Parker, Technician. Cheryl Ramsdale, Technology Specialist. Amy Self, Administrative Assistant and Keeper of All Things. Joseph Stark, Technician. And Paul Wandell, Network Administrator. We also have Kathy Cooper, who is our part-time assistant and bus driver. They have done a wonderful job, and we appreciate all of your hard work. Thank you.
Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Pereza, Dr. Parker, rest of the Board of Education members, colleagues, and community members. Tonight, I'd like to recognize collectively the Human Resources Department for their exceptional dedication and efforts in navigating the complex landscape of human resources processes, while simultaneously maintaining a high standard of professionalism and confidentiality. I want them to know their hard work has not gone unnoticed. From processing new hires to handling reassignments and departures, the HR department exhibit a level of confidence that is truly commendable.
During the 22-23 school year, they processed the paperwork for 631 new hires, coaches, resignations, substitute teachers, and reassignments. In just the last 2 months alone, from June 19 until tonight's meeting, they have processed the paperwork of 245 new hire resignations and reassignments. Their relentless work ethic and meticulous attention to detail and unparalleled teamwork has set a new standards of excellence within our department. As I recognize their accomplishments as a team, I want to also take a moment to highlight the exceptional contributions of each individually. And I'm going to ask them to come when I call their name. And this is an appetized list, so you can be prepared. Ms. Kim Barcliff, if you would come up. And it has Kim Barcliff recognized for management of administrative duties, effective communication, organizational skills, and attention to detail. Human Resources Assistant. I also want to say that Kim is commended for her thorough review of applications, credential verifications, and compliance with hiring regulations, all while maintaining a high volume of applicant emails, calls, and inquiries. Additionally, she maintains strict confidentiality and uphold ethical standards throughout the entire process. Next, I would like to recognize Ms. Kelly Cowell for support to new teachers. She's also the beginning teacher coordinator. Ms. Cowell is appreciated for assisting and onboarding new teachers, ensuring a smooth transition into ECPPS by providing orientation, mentorship, and resources to help new teachers excel in their roles. Next, we have Ms. Tamika Hinton. She's recognized for providing a welcoming environment. She's our Human Resources Assistant and our receptionist. She's acknowledged for her friendly and professional demeanor as the first point of contact, making a positive impression and setting a welcoming tone for candidates, staff, and visitors to the Board of Education. Now, Kim Respis is recognized for managing employee benefits and workman comp claims. She's Human Resources Assistant for benefits. She is commended for her expertise in explaining employee benefit packages and assisting staff with benefit-related inquiries, handling workman compensation claims, processing paperwork, and ensuring that the benefits enrollment process is seamless. Ms. Respis. Last but certainly not least, we have Ms. Courtney Shore. Ms. Shore is recognized for her meticulous work in verifying and maintaining licensure and certification records for teachers and other certified staff as our licensure specialist. Ms. Shore is acknowledged for her expertise ensuring certified staff meet the necessary qualifications and certifications for the licensure requirement. Please join with me in congratulating these ladies.
Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Perez, and board members, good evening. So the finance team had the opportunity to submit a copy of our 2022 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report to the Association of School Business Officials International, known as ASBO, for consideration in the Certificate of Excellence program. So quoting ASBO, the mission of the program is to promote and recognize excellence in financial reporting. Participation in the program demonstrates a commitment to financial transparency. So applicants submit their CAFR package for review by a team of professionals who provide feedback to improve future documents. If the report meets the requirements of the program, it may receive the Certificate of Excellence. So I am excited to inform you that the Elizabeth City Pasquotank Board of Education has met the requirements and was awarded the Certificate of Excellence for 2022. And I got so excited about the plaque, I forgot our individual certificates, but Caroline will attest, we have certificates at the office. But before we recognize the team behind the work, I want to share some information with you about the last couple of years. So when we started with receiving COVID funding, it was originally provided to us through CRF funds, which were allotted similar to other state allotments. And then it moved under federal programs, which required grant applications, a plan, a budget, before funds could be released to us. So our federal programs department has completed approximately 25 initial COVID federal grant applications. Some of those have been multiple years and multiple submissions. That's in addition to the regular federal programs that they already manage and administer. We're excited to note that we had no findings in our programmatic monitoring of federal programs. In addition to that, some other facts about the finance department this year. This past year, we issued 3,497 purchase orders, 762 of those being from federal funds, and we processed 5,060 invoices. That includes travel reimbursements, check requests, and PO invoices. We processed 12,457 payroll checks and issued 1,031 W-2s. So tonight, would you please join me in recognizing the finance team? We have Bert Lane, Amy Bundy, if you guys would come up, Susan Morris, Veronica Arthur, Meredith Collins, and Lori McDaniels. So I want to thank each of you for your commitment to excellence and for all that you do each day to support our schools and departments. Meredith, if you'd take this. Thank you.
As everyone is taking their seats, on behalf of the entire board, we want to let you know just how appreciated you are. Our standing monthly meeting just happened to fall on the first day of school, and here you are with a smile on your faces, as dedicated as always, and we thank you for that. Yes, sir.
Chair Cobb, if I might for just a second. I'm going to have to turn my chair around. I'd like to address Ms. Reinhardt. So, Ms. Reinhardt, I believe there was a picture of me circulating during the convocation of working in the nutrition department. And I know that showed me as an actor working in the nutrition department. But I would like to actually volunteer my services to actually visit each and every school and put that acting to work. So we'll coordinate our schedule to get that done. We have to coordinate the schedule first, but we'll get that together and I'll join each and every school. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walton. Ms. Reinhardt is probably going to hold you to that.
I think I still have my hair net, so I should be ready.
Okay. All right, now we'll continue on with Dr. Parker and instructional highlights.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This time we'll ask Mr. Sammy Fudge to come forward and to summarize some of the highlights from today. And we are very excited that we had a very successful first day of school. And many of the staff was able to get out, and board members as well, to different schools, and just saw a lot of smiling faces today, a lot of energy and a lot of positivity. And so, Mr. Fudge, thank you for jumping in and just sharing a little bit of how today went.
Thank you, sir. Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, board members, and Dr. Parker, I just want to give some highlights from today. If I had to choose one word that described our opening, I would say incredible. This has been one of the best openings I've seen in my entire educational career, and that spans, this has started my 42nd year, so a very good, smooth opening. I want to really thank both our principals and their leadership team for making that possible. One of the things I saw today, or we saw today, that both students and staff was incredibly excited about being back in our buildings. Drop-offs was so smooth, along with students' movement in the hallway was just incredible. And that goes back to a lot of organization on the parts of the principals and their teams. So I just want to just thank them for that. Also want to thank our transportation department, our nutrition department, and our maintenance department for all their hard work. And the one thing that I could say that this was a total community effort as far as our open house today, as far as our first day of school and opening of school. I would like to thank our faith-based partners, our community members who came out to support our schools. I want to also thank ECSU, their volleyball team, their softball team, football teams, and cheer teams for their presence and cheering our kids on and staffs on as they came into the building. And also, I'd like to really recognize the following fraternities: Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, and also the Delta sorority for all their efforts in making this a really smooth opening for our district. So I have nothing, we have nothing to say, but it was just a great opening. If that's any indicator, we should have an outstanding school year this year. I'm open for any questions that you might have. So at this time, I think Mr. Jackson Hurd have some pictures just highlighting some of the things that we've just talked about and shared.
Thank you, Mr. Fudge, for sharing the update there. I also want to say that just a couple of, about 30 minutes ago, I got a text from Ms. Hill, and she said that all of our buses have parked and all students are home and made it home on the first day. So very, very proud of the work that's going on, and there's about 3,000 students that ride a school bus every day. And so I appreciate the hard work of our transportation department in particular of getting those kids rolling today. And so just want to thank, echo the comments that have already been shared, but want to thank everybody for their hard work and for really just dedication to make sure we've had such a smooth start of the school year. So really looking forward to continuing and engaging, dynamic, successful 2023-24 school year. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, at this time, we would like to take this opportunity to welcome our student board members to their first meeting. So I'm going to turn things over now to our Vice Chair, Pam Pereza, and she will take this opportunity to introduce everyone to our student board members.
Thank you, Chair Cobb. As you said, not only is today the first day of school for most every school except for the early college, today is the first meeting that our student board members report for their first official meeting. So I'll introduce to you Haley Mayhew, who is representing the Elizabeth City Pasquotank Early College, Jonathan Manuel from Pasquotank County High School, and Gabby Johnson from Northeastern High School. We are excited to welcome you to the table with the board. We would like to take a picture with you guys and the board, if that's okay, and then we would like to have a brief introduction on how your school start went. Okay? Oh, I think I got it. It's great. There we go.
Okay, hello. For my first day of school, I had a pretty good day, and I think we are off to a good start for this school year, and it went very smoothly, as other people have said, and I think this is one of the best years I've personally experienced with going back to school. I'll hand it over to Jonathan.
Today was pretty cool. I mean, nothing was going on, so you like that, then something going on. So it was a smooth day, like everyone has been saying. Really successful, in my opinion.
So my school started 2 weeks ago. It was mostly smooth, but we don't have a counselor. But luckily, my principal, Miss Fife, has helped keep things smooth for most of the students, and so I'm really appreciative of her. And overall, we've been doing good.
All right, well, again, welcome. We will be seeing you guys at every regular board meeting. And again, welcome to the team.
Okay, now we're going to move on, and we are at the section of our meeting where we will be looking at the approval of the minutes. I need a motion at this time.
I'd like to make the motion that we approve the minutes for July 24th, August 14th, and August 21st, 2023 as presented.
Okay. So we have a motion from Mr. Walton, a second from Mr. Old. Is there any discussion? If not, Ms. Parker, can we have a roll call, please?
Pam Pereza. Tommy Old.
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams.
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
Sharon Warden.
Yes.
And Valerie Bogues.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we are at the public comment portion of our meeting. Policy 2310 allows for public comment at school board meetings. Just a reminder that each speaker has 3 minutes to address the board. We value feedback from our community that will continue to help us grow. And this evening, we have one name on our public comment, and that is Ms. Winiger. Did I say it right? Okay, so if you would like to take the podium. And Ms. Parker, if you will get our timing device ready for us, please.
Hey, good afternoon. I thought this was a one-subject meeting, so I'll provide my comments on the 2015 policy. I've read it as a parent. I do not have comments on the policy. I'm glad to see this meeting is more about everything going on. So to let you know, the parents are here. I brought my many hats. As a Northeastern mom, you may have seen me on the sidelines of my kid's life or in many of the band parades. So I hope that you all understand our parents are here to support you in your mission. And when you say a public hearing, that's important to us. I'd like to see if there's any changes to 2015 and then provide comments. And I appreciate every single thing that behind the scenes you all are doing. We're newer to Pasquotank County for 3 years. I'm not the public speaker in the family. But we have enjoyed being Rockets, we've enjoyed being Dolphins, and we enjoy being Eagles. I have a thank you to Heather Edmiston for getting right back to me when I asked for the policy, so I'd have it before this meeting. We want to be engaged. We need your help from the school board members. Facebook works. I don't know what other ways to communicate we can use, but we're here for you. We're busy, but we're here, and we appreciate everything you're doing that we don't see. This is a wonderful school system, and I'd like to say we're going to be flying high with the Vikings. They came in and cheered us on. My son is one of 6 that is taking the drone class and the aviation ground school. We have a great system. We have great partnerships. I'm so proud to be a parent. And thank you for providing me time to comment on this policy. As written from 2015, I don't have anything to add. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, now we're going to move on to our other agenda items, and at this time, I'll turn the meeting over to Ms. Sharon Warden, who is the chair of the Finance, Business, and Technology Committee.
And at this time, I'm going to call on Ms. Rachel Haynes.
Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Perez, and board members, good evening. The first item on the agenda for finance tonight is the Title I plan. I'm going to turn it over to Burt Lane to present the plan to you.
Good evening, Chair Cobb, Vice Chair Pereza, Dr. Parker, board members, colleagues, and guests. As Ms. Haynes said, my name is Burt Lane. I'm the Director of Federal Programs. I don't have recognitions for you tonight, although I probably should. And I will say one, Amy Bundy, my admin assistant. This would not be complete without the help of Amy Bundy and the Finance Department. That's the department that I reside in. Great group of people. Let's see, Dexter, are you going to click next slide, please? The Title I program, or the Title I plan, there are several state and federal requirements that we are required to meet. We have to have consultations with private schools. Those consultations were held. We have to have meetings with stakeholders to give feedback on the plan. Those meetings were held and documented. And we have to provide advertisement to give the public an opportunity to view the plan and offer feedback. All of those things were done. On the next slide, I'm sorry, board members, this is FBT 01 in your packet. You can see the consolidated goals. I won't read all of those to you, but the most, one of the largest goals in there is to increase student attendance, achievement, and the graduation by a minimum of 5%. Next slide, Dexter, please. With the Title I money, basically what we want to get to is what are we spending the money on? The first thing that I would like for you to know is that the majority of the Title I funding is pushed back to the schools so that the schools may decide what's important with their SIT team and their stakeholders to support academic achievement within their buildings. We do keep a little bit of money because there are things that we have to do. We provide 11.5 positions to reduce class sizes. We purchase Title I crates, which is an online system that allows us to keep all the documentation. So when we have those monitorings and those audits, we can be organized and provide those people with the information that they need. We furnish supplies and materials. It pays my salary. That's a very important piece to me. It pays my admin assistant salary as well. That's another very important piece. We pay for half of the salary for our attendance counselor comes out of Title I funding. We pay for Educator's Handbook, which allows administrators to track and to analyze discipline trends in their schools. We also pay for positions in Title I pre-K, and we provide a set-aside for transportation for McKinney-Vento and foster care children. So in a nutshell, that's basically what we spend the Title I funding on. Dexter, next slide. You got it? Okay, Title II is the next bucket of money. We pay for 4 teacher positions out of Title II money. We provide money for principal and AP development. We provide money for mentors for our newer administrators. But the biggest thing that we use Title II for is professional development for administrators and teachers. It's all about improving the quality of educators within our district. So we cover workshop expenses, we cover subs, and any needed supplies and materials. Next slide, please. Title III, which is about language acquisition. I believe the last count that I had in our district, we have 13 languages that are spoken within little ECPPS. So we're becoming very global. We provide a full-time ESL TA. We pay for supplies and materials as well, and for document translation, because it's very important that parents receive communications in their native language. Next slide, please, Dexter. The next is student support and academic enrichment. The other part of our attendance counselor salary comes out of here. We pay for curriculum associates, or more commonly known as iReady. A portion of that comes from this funding. We also pay for supplemental STEM supplies in many of our elementary schools. We provide money for social and emotional programs that we are running, or actually initiatives like calming corners, things like that. For our students, we provide supplemental counseling services for students who may be struggling since coming back from the pandemic, or any struggle actually that they're having in their lives. And we provide supplemental EC support or pay for various programs that EC may need on top of the funding that they have. Next slide, please, Dexter. RLIS, or 109, this is the money that really Kelly Cow uses this money. We use it to support our beginning teacher program. So it's used for teacher recruitment, retention, and as I said, beginning teacher support. We provide mentors for stipends for mentors. We are one of the few counties in the surrounding area that we're still able to do that, because we think it's really important for the work that they do to support our teachers. We also pay for supplies and materials. We celebrate our teachers as well. That's written into Kelly's BT plan, and she does an awesome job with that. We partner with ECU and ECSU for coaching. We have several programs that are Kelly's running, Grow Your Own, TA to Teacher, to provide a direct funnel for people in our system, like TAs, to become teachers. And everyone knows across the the United States, there's a teaching shortage and you have a lot of trouble recruiting quality teachers. But we have the talent within our district to be able to grow our own. We pay for technology out of this for our beginning teachers as well. Next slide. Title III, another part of Title III, it's called significant increase, and really this money is spent for supplies and materials, anything that we use or the EL teachers use to help students gain a command of the English language. And that brings me to the question section. If you were to have any, I'll be happy to entertain those.
Can you tell us how many beginning teachers and mentors we have at this time?
I do not know that number, but I can get it for you. Kelly is not here now, but she could reel it off the top of her head.
Okay.
But I think it's a pretty significant number, but I will get that number back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
And each one of those has a mentor?
Yes,
Okay.
they do.
Thank you.
Now, we need mentors, so if any teachers are out there listening, we would love to have you as a mentor. That's a plug for Kelly.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? Okay, if there are none at this time, we are asking for action on this tonight.
We're going to take action on that along with some other items.
Okay.
That
All right, thank you very much.
just going to bundle them all together.
Thank you, Bert. Ms. Warden, moving on to FBT 02 in your packet, that's the budget resolution for 2023, 2024. We're requesting to adopt an initial budget, a total budget of $68,408,680.20, outlined in by funding type in your resolution. Are there any questions about the budget resolution? Okay, if there are no questions about that, moving on to FBT 03, it's the fundraiser and requests for this week. Any questions on the fundraisers that were submitted? If there are no questions on fundraisers, the next item is FBT 04. This is the quote for Imagine Learning, which is Edgenuity, I believe. And if you have questions on that, I have Mr. Fonville, who is our Edgenuity expert, who can answer any questions you may have on that.
I have one question. Where is Edgenuity currently being used? Which schools?
Mr. Fonville?
And Trigg? Yes.
Any other questions? Okay. And if there are no questions on those items, the last item in your packet, FBT 05, is for information, and it's just a copy of the lottery fund distribution document that will be signed by the chair and sent to the county to be able to draw down those funds. And Ms. Warden, if there are no questions, that concludes my report.
Thank you so much, Rachel. And Bert, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to move to approve FBT-01, which is the Title I plan, FBT-02, the budget resolution, FBT-03, the fundraisers, FBT-04, the quote for Imagine Learning, and that's quote number 270810. And I need a second on that motion. Okay, I've got a second.
Have a motion by Ms. Warden, a second by Vice Chair Pereza. Can we get a roll call vote? Let me back that up. Do we have any further discussion first? Now can we get a roll call vote, please, Ms. Parker?
Pam Pereza, Tommy Old,
Yes.
Dr. Sheila Williams,
Yes.
Rodney Walton,
Yes.
Sharon Warden,
Yes.
and Valerie Bogues.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Haynes.
Thank you, Mr. Lane, Ms. Haynes, and all who had input, excuse me, into those plans and quotes. At this time, as the sitting chair of the Global Citizens and Healthy Students Committee, I'd like to recognize Ms. Tammy Reinhardt, who is going to give a presentation on school nutrition.
Thank you again, Chair Cobb, board members, Dr. Parker, and guests. My presentation really is just pictures of my ladies and things that went on throughout the year, and I had to cut it way down because I had a half an hour of pictures, so we just smushed everything down. But again, I just want to thank these ladies. Just like the heart of your home is your kitchen, I feel the heart of our schools are our cafeterias, and these ladies not only feed the children well, but they love them well. Of just a few little things, we did reestablish our community eligibility provision this year, and that is a 4-year approval. So that meant, and we also were able to add the early college. So this is the first year they were able to be on that CEP. And that meant that every child receives free breakfast and free lunch, which is important. Our participation for last year, overall for the year, breakfast, we served 364,826 breakfasts. We served 567,961 lunches. We provided after-school snacks for all of our sites, including the YMCA, the Boys and Girls Club, just girls, and that was almost 53,000. And supper at Elizabeth City Middle and Sheep Harney Elementary was almost 13,000 meals. We have a lot of exciting things going on. Our first Farm to School Expo will be Thursday, September the 28th at Pasquotank County High School. We've got a lot of participation in the community. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of our Farm to School partners are going to be there, USDA and NCDA, and just all of the people that we're purchasing food from they're excited about coming, they're setting up, and this will be a field trip for first and second graders from all over the county. So we're looking forward to that. Again, I'm proud of my ladies this summer. The summer program, not only did they feed the children, we also delivered all the food. So that's just incredible. And really, that's all I have is just, I want to praise them, thank them, we love them. We'll have the best team in the state, I'm just going to tell you. I'm looking for nothing but great things to happen. Thank you so much for the privilege to brag on them a little bit tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Reinhardt, for sharing that with us this evening. Next, I would like to turn over the meeting to Mr. Tommy Old, who is the chair of the Policy Committee.
And I will defer to Ms. Evanston for the first presentation in reference to technology.
Thank you so much. Again, Board Chair Cobb, to the Board of Education, Dr. Parker, and Families and Communities. As required annually by the Federal Communications Commission, this notice is submitted to the ECPPS Board of Education as well as to the ECPPS community that ECPPS is compliant with all requirements of the Children's Internet Protection Act regarding student use of technology and the use of the internet within the educational programs. To comply with this requirement, ECPPS students, families, and employees are informed annually of the requirements of this policy and are provided with information on how to access this policy. Parents receive notification through end-user agreements that are sent home with their students and that are required to be signed by both students and parents in order to acknowledge that they understand and will follow said policies and procedures set forth by the ECPPS Board of Education. Students across all grade levels will receive instruction throughout the year regarding internet safety and best practices for online safety. Thank you for your time and attention to this. Thank you.
Let me defer to Mr. Hollow for the next presentation in reference to the first read.
You all have red lines and these policies in your online package. Take that on to John Holder have in front of me.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Parker, good evening. As you all are probably aware at this point, I think we've talked about it a little bit, there were two major laws that were passed by the General Assembly a couple of weeks back. One is the Fairness of Women's Sports Act, and the other is the Parents' Bill of Rights. The Parents' Bill of Rights has 13 pages of law. It's a pretty complicated bill. It's a pretty big change to education law, and it requires us to adopt a number of policies or revise some of our policies to meet the standards of the Parents' Bill of Rights. And you have in your packets tonight 4 policy revisions, and I will explain those in a second. But first of all, I want to make clear what you're required to do. First of all, you're required to have a policy that provides for parental participation in their child's education to improve parent and teacher cooperation in areas such as homework, school attendance, and discipline. And it needs to align with the Parent Guide for Student Achievement required by General Statute 115C 7630. That's going to be the revisions to Policy Code 1310 in your package. You'll see the red line changes we made. I don't think it's going to be helpful for me to go through those and read every word of them, but there's about 10 different sections we've added which really just fill in the gaps in that policy through other provisions that are required now through the Parents' Bill of Rights. Most of those things are already a part of the school system. It's my understanding it's a practice to engage most of these items, but we have to have these things in policy, and that's why you have those revisions in front of you. The second one is that we have to require principals to effectively communicate to parents the manner in which textbooks are used to implement the school's curricular objectives. If you look at the red line version of Policy 3200 in your packets, we have added a phrase that does just that. We're a public board here. This law applies to public schools, charter schools, private schools. The provision's a little bit redundant, but we have to have that provision in our policy by law, so we've added that and included it, and it's in your board packet. Third and fourth, both of these, we don't have any revised policies for these. You have a policy 3210 that deals with both of these bullet points I'm going to go through. The first is that we have to have a procedure for parents to learn about their child's course of study, the source of any supplementary instructional materials, and a means for parents to object to textbooks and supplementary and instructional materials. We have both of those things in our policy already, so there's nothing in your packet addressing those. For number 5, we have to have a process for parents to review materials and consent or withhold consent for participation in health and safety education programs. You also have a policy that deals with that, so we don't have any revisions, but it's worth pointing out to you all. Lastly, this is a new one. We do have revisions. It's Policy Code 3620. You'll see the red line changes in it. We have to have a process for parents to learn about the nature and the purpose of clubs and curricular and extracurricular activities offered at every school. So we have revised 3620 to include a provision requiring principals to address those items. We think it would be beneficial to have a list of every club and extracurricular activity and curricular activity on the websites and a brief description about the purpose of each. Finally, this isn't something that's required to be in a policy, but it is a big change in the law. Policy 4720, I have proposed a new Policy 4720 in your packets. It reads very similar to your old Policy 4720. The only difference is now we don't have a blanket consent form to take these protected information surveys of students. Now parents have to opt in instead of just getting blanket consent. You have to specifically opt in as a parent for a child to participate in those surveys. So I've kind of revised the policy to address that, and I have a copy of the new one up here, and there's one other provision I want to discuss on it. We need to make sure that at least 10 days in advance of the conduction of any one of these types of studies or tests or assessments, we have to give parents notice of that and the opportunity to review the survey. So those are the policies we have. You have before you Policy Code 1310, 3200, 3670, 4720. They all contain minor revisions. Most of these things the school system already is actively doing, but we have to have that reflected in our policy. We do expect, as you all know, you're subscribed to the North Carolina School Boards Association Policy Service. We expect them to come out with more detailed policies at some point later on in the fall. But this law is, as I mentioned, it's big, it's complex, it's taking them a while to sort through things too. And the way the law reads, these policies have to be in place at the beginning of the school year. And it's really not prudent for us to wait around for them to adopt policy. So we went ahead and made some revisions, and my understanding is that you're planning to let these sit until the next school board meeting. You can adopt them then, and then if there are additional policies, more specific policies that come out from the School Boards Association, you're obviously more than welcome to adopt those as well, and we would encourage you to do so. So if y'all have any questions about any of the policies or the Parents' Bill of Rights in general, I'm happy to answer them to the best of my ability. Yes, sir.
So how exactly are the parents supposed to be notified? Well, not notified. How are they going to be opting in or opting out for their students to participate in surveys?
So our office is working on a form to send out to parents at the beginning of the year, and we have a draft of it in place. I talked a little bit about this with Dr. Parker today, but we're still shaping it up because there's a couple of issues. We're unclear whether, you can take a survey, and the purpose of the law is to protect the disclosure of the information, but it's kind of unclear if a teacher wanted to take it. One of the protected topics is the political party of a parent. So if we were to do that and keep it anonymous, it's kind of unclear if we would have to get an opt-in to do an anonymous survey. We know if we disclose that information or use that information, we'd have to have an opt-in. So we're waiting to try to sort through that a little bit further before we actually come out with an opt-in form, but we do have a draft of an opt-in form that we're going to circulate once we're ready with it.
I got a second question.
Yes, sir.
In reference to the protected subjects, okay, for the survey, why are we doing them to begin with? Because I've read the bill, but obviously I'm not an attorney, and I haven't read all 13 pages either. But I don't recall anything that's in the bill that talks about taking surveys.
There is certainly a provision that deals with it. I've got the bill in front of me right now, and I can point you to the exact section. Now, whether or not you guys are actively doing those, I have no idea. I mean, I don't work inside of the school system, but you certainly do have a provision on that. Let's see here. It's section 115C-76.65. If you're looking at the actual session laws on page 8, starts at the very bottom.
Okay. I'll go back and look at it. I just wasn't aware of this, and I'm thinking a lot of parents are probably not aware of this either. That's my point.
Absolutely. And again, I don't know whether any of the schools, all of the schools, or some of the schools are doing these surveys or not, but this information is there to protect the district as a whole. We have to have a policy addressing this, so that's why it's before you tonight.
I have one quick question. I've seen and just read some things on my own about how SB 49 is affecting, or it's being interpreted to affect things like teachers being able to do interest surveys because they're asking, there might be a protected subject in that interest survey. Or are you familiar with anything like that?
That's kind of what we're talking about. So the statute, I can read through the examples, but it gives A through H different subparts of what's considered protected information. Political affiliations or beliefs of the student or the student's parent, mental or psychological problems of the student or the student's family, sex behavior or attitudes, illegal, antisocial, self-incriminating or demeaning behavior, critical appraisals of other individuals, legally recognized privileged relationships such as those of lawyers, physicians, and ministers, religious practices or beliefs, income. Those are the kinds of things that are considered protected information. And again, we're trying to sort through, the law is not really clear on whether or not you can have one of those surveys in an anonymous manner versus a manner where you're actually disclosing the results. So we're trying to sort through that before we get that consent form out. Any other questions?
I guess I'm not trying to beat you up because you're giving us information. I'm trying to understand why, as a public school system, that we're doing these types of surveys. I did surveys in my class, but they were what Ms. Cobb was talking about. They were interest surveys. That's a whole different animal than what these are listed as on here. And I'm curious as to what other people are doing. Not that ECPPS is gonna bounce to whatever Curry Tucker Dare's doing. There's just something about this on the surface at least that just doesn't appeal to me, and it wouldn't appeal to me if I was a parent either. I don't care what religion, because it's got that in there too. What does that have to do with, it doesn't have to do with anything.
Look,
I'm you up, I'm just saying, I'm just talking.
I agree with you. I went to public school as well, and I don't recall ever having to participate in one of these surveys, but I think some districts do it. And for those that do it, they're required to follow the law.
I don't think this law requires it. It may address it and allow you to do it, but I don't think it requires it, is my point.
Well, there's actually another federal law called the Protection of Pupils Amendments Right, or Protection of Pupils' Rights Amendments that deal with the exact same thing. It's always really been a law, but it's never been codified in the North Carolina General Assembly's legislature in our statutes until this year. But it's always been a federal law, as long as I can remember. They're good questions, though.
Some people might not think so.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Okay, just for clarification, in the policy committee, the internet safety policy was for information only based on what we are required to do to present yearly for the public hearing. And PC02, PC03, PC04, PC05 are first read. So we do not take any action on those policies tonight. At this time, I would like to ask Dr. Williams if you would please take us into closed session.
I motion for the board to go into closed session as allowed by NC General Statute 143 through 31811A6 for the purpose of considering one or more personnel matters that are confidential, and 143 through 31811A1 under the NC General Statute 115C through 320, and as allowed by NC Statute 114 through 31811A3 to consult with the board attorney regarding matters protected by the attorney-client privilege and to preserve that privilege.
Okay, we have had a motion to go into closed session by Dr. Williams. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
We have a second by Ms. Warden. Is there any discussion before we proceed? Ms. Parker, could we have a roll call vote, please?
Pam Perezza. Tommy Old. Dr. Sheila Williams.
Yes.
Rodney Walton.
Yes.
Sharon Warden.
Yes.
Valerie Bogues.
Yes.
Okay, we are now in closed session. Thank you, everyone, for coming this evening. We really do appreciate you, and we hope the second day of